All right, all audio, all video has been disabled as this session is being recorded for the city of Plano and your privacy is being protected. All right, let's grab our yoga block. Bring it between the knees and the thighs, placing the block in the most narrow position. From here, taking a look down at our feet so that we can work with a little bit of awareness with our alignment today. We want to see that the knees are the same distance apart as the ankles. Now, the distance of the knees is set by the block. So usually this means we're going to be adjusting our feet in order to achieve that stacked joint alignment. Why is it important to stack joints? Because based on physics, this is the safest place to load weight up into your back and pelvis. From here, web your toes out, open up your fingers really wide, roll the shoulders down and back, holding in a strong Tadasana mountain stance. Let's lower the chin just enough so that maybe we're balancing an egg on our head now, or maybe that egg rolls off just from the crown of the head. Start to focus on the breath, breathing down into the belly, pushing our stomach out as we inhale, and then exhale, pull the belly in nice and tight. Inhaling, pressing out with the belly, maybe even lifting the chest a little bit. Exhale, relax the chest and pull in the belly. Staying mindful to try dropping the breath down as low as possible into the lungs, maybe letting the breath fill up into the chest and the heart. Why are we moving the breath down into the belly first? As the lungs expand, we're able to compress organs and other connecting tissues around the spine and down into the pelvis to help support and stabilize our body. Start squeezing the yoga block a little more. Inhale, holding that squeeze through the inhale and through the exhale. Keeping that active squeeze on the block. Begin to pull up through the pelvic floor. These are the same muscles we would use for endurance with the bladder. Technically, it's called a urethral squeeze. Urethral squeeze, pulling up. Inhaling into the belly, pull up through the bladder, lift up through the heart. Keep squeezing, exhale, relax the heart and the belly. Add in your hands to this. Inhale, sweep both arms overhead, flying the arms, squeeze the block, palms forward, pull up through the pelvis and sweep the arms back and down. Inhale, squeeze into the block. Exhale, pull up through the pelvis, lower the arms down. Staying mindful of that dynamic tension that moves from the inner thighs up to the pelvic floor, and we might start to even feel it moving into the soles of the feet. It could radiate a little bit into your low back. If we're feeling it in the low back today, think about maybe rolling your thighs in or the knees in towards each other. It might sound kind of funny, but it is possible to have your knees out. So you would roll the thighs and the knees in towards the block. And this can help to realign the femur bone and possibly also help to strengthen and support the inner thigh musculature. Let's do at least a couple more of these sweeping movements with the arms. Good morning. Smile. Anytime we put tension in the low back, we can create tension in the face. One more. Big inhale. Exhale, swan dive, hands to the thighs. Moving into a supported forward fold, Uttanasana. Any yoga pose that begins with ooh in the sound means that we are using it to stimulate energy. From here, big inhale. Exhale, relax down a little more. Shake the head, yes. Turn the head left and right. Let's come to a still point. Hands are up on the thighs so that we're able to push into our thighs, creating support for the spine, coming up halfway, extending the arms back, palms facing down, airplane expression. Start to push the thumbs back, lift up and overhead, extended mountain, looking up with our gaze, noticing any sensations that may have shifted or changed in the neck, throat, or shoulders. We could look up with the head and the gaze, or we could look more ahead and simply shift the eyeballs up to get a similar effect energetically without compromising our neck alignment. From here, big inhale, reach. Start shifting forward and back in the soles of the feet, keeping the toes wide, spreading them out like little duck feet. Coming forward into the ball of the foot, little lift of the heel, peeling up the heel just enough. So maybe you realize that we're just not sticking to the mat anymore, but it doesn't have to be too high of a lift. Act surprised. 1, 2, 3. Yes, notice those ribs jumped up and lift a little higher. Let's bend the knees. Exhale, swan dive, hands to the thighs, pressing the hips back, holding it here, moving into standing cow, squeezing into our block. Elbows are tight. Press into the thighs to prop up the ribs and maybe lengthen out and open the throat. Maybe shift the eyes up to where the wall meets the ceiling or look up at the ceiling tiles. So you might feel a little compression in the back of the neck. If it just feels a little tight, maybe we stick with it. If it is painful in any way, lower the chin, keep the gaze with the eyes. Big inhale. Exhale, straightening the legs, walking our hands down past our knees towards the shins, relaxing through the upper back and shoulders, hang loose like a rag doll, finding our Uttanasana position again, forward fold, big exhale from the throat. Let's bend our knees, slide the hands up onto the thighs, come up halfway, extending the arms behind us, palms facing down, airplane position. Flip the thumbs up, press into the feet, reach up overhead, extended mountain. Big inhale with the reach, shifting forward and back. Option to shift the eyes up to where the wall meets the ceiling, or lift the chin with the gaze while we continue to rock back and forth. Continue to roll the knees in, press in with the thighs, add in that little lift, maybe a little higher this time. So as we peel our heels away from the mat, first we feel we just have lost that tackiness or that stickiness with our feet. Hopefully it's not just me feeling sticky and tapping with my feet on the mat. I mean, I did just do a workout. All right, baby, come up just a little higher, just a little bit, possibly recruiting just a little more energy in the soles and arches of the feet. Big inhale, surprise. Good. Exhale, drop the heels, swan dive. Let's grab our yoga block, bringing it between the hands. We can always keep the hands just like this with the elbows close. This is a neutral wrist position. And usually there's going to be less of a risk of strain on your wrist. So for anyone who's had some sensitivity in their wrist in the past, maybe always come back to this position. Alternatively, you could start to wing the elbows out, and we're doing that to change the angle in the wrist joint, and then pushing into the block a little bit, just a little bit, not too much. From here, keeping our knees soft, we're stepping our left foot back a casual stride, not being too nitpicky about the foundation today. So as we look at our feet, we notice that the left toe is going to turn out just a little bit. That is just fine. From here, let's extend our block overhead, straightening the right leg. Inhale, reach up, press the block back behind you, and maybe look up towards the sky. Exhale, let's bend our front knee, come forward, pull the block down directly in front of the sternum and the chest. Come forward a little more so we feel that we can push straight down into that right foot. Now, you don't have to lift the back foot up, but if you want, heel up the heel and then put it back down. Inhale, straightening both legs. Exhale, come forward. I didn't realize how loud that air conditioner is. Option 2, heel up the back heel. Our body already practiced that little heel with balance. It's a little different. Let's plant the heel. Inhale, bring it up. Both legs straight. Option to look up, open the throat. Exhale, pull it down, shift forward, just a little bit, almost like a little rocky horse type motion with the energy. Option to heel, rock it back. Maybe one time, maybe 2 or 3 times, absolutely no rush. Let's do one more full cycle. Inhaling, reaching up. Option to look up. At any time, act surprised. Just that little extra oomph. Exhale, come forward. Little rocking, healing action with that back heel. Notice when we shift forward that we actively feel more weight in that front leg. So we are doing a little more weight bearing and strengthening to work on bone density and stabilization in that front leg here. Inhale, bring it up, big breath in. Exhale, pull it down, having the option this time to peel up the heel and maybe come onto the tippy toe, bending both knees. Bending the back knee so that we soften that left hip. Let your left hip come forward just a tiny bit. And you might even feel that your back knee, your left knee, is rotating in when you pull your left hip forward. From here, press back through the heel. Inhale, lift. Exhale, come forward. Say good morning to your right hip. That's what this is for. Coming forward on the tippy toe. Little bounce. Both knees are nice and soft. You might feel it in your right hip. If you don't, it's okay. I promise it's still strengthening and stabilizing it. One more. Inhale, bring it up. Big smile. It's beautiful. Exhale, come down. Lift the heel. Rotate in. Woo. Little bounce. Anyone else feel it? Is it just me? Okay, that's not just me. All right, take it back. Inhale, reach it up. Let's bend our front knee and hold in a casual warrior one position. Taking our yoga block to our low back this time. We could always work on straightening out the elbows, and as we lengthen out the arms, naturally this might give a little more of a neutral alignment to the wrist. From here, as we inhale, puff out your chest like a proud bird. Open up. It's a habit. Yeah. From here, we can naturally lift the chin. It would be more of like a natural thing for the body to do in that energetic chain. We could always lift it a little higher, maybe looking with our eyes towards the ceiling tiles. Again, always just checking in. If there's any pain, lower the chin. Continue to bend and lunge that front knee forward. The higher we lift the chest, the more we lift the chin and open the throat. We might notice that there's a tightness in the body that pulls on that front leg and knee. So we want to keep lunging forward to work with that midline of connecting tissue. When you're ready, come to center. Inhale, bring both arms overhead. Exhale, swan dive, both hands onto the front thigh with our yoga block. Let's lift our back heel as we shift forward, rotate the heel back, and again, swivel that left hip forward and left knee goes in a little bit. Now push the back heel down, maybe keeping a little bend in that back knee. We're moving into an expression of pyramid today. From here, inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, slowly begin to come forward, angling the heart towards the right thigh or towards that right knee. We could always keep our hands on the thigh and on the block so we're able to make some space, less compression on your belly and lungs. We could also take the block down in front of our right foot and maybe push straight down into that block. The purpose of the block here is basically to bring the floor up to us. Option to straighten one or both legs. There's plenty of time to experiment with this. So if we keep our right knee bent, what happens if we straighten our left leg and push back into the left heel? We could bend the left knee. What happens if we straighten just the right leg? We'll start to get a little bit of play in the hip joints. We could always straighten both legs, and usually straightening both legs can recruit the most sensations in the body. That's what we're calling pain now.
Sensation.
So actually, hopefully it doesn't hurt, but if you feel like it is pulling, that is usually what this pose does. It usually does pull on the hips, IT band, which is like connecting tissue with the hips to the arches of the feet. When you're ready, bend both knees, easy does it. Step the left foot forward. Standing forward fold. Bring the block between the knees. Inhaling, reverse swan dive, coming all the way up. Exhaling, sweep it around, chair. Utkatasana. Option to lift the heels, coming into a balancing chair. Pressing the heels down, inhale, lift up. Exhale, chair again. Sitting back, palms up, option to lift the heels. Remember, you don't have to sit back too deep into chair. Inhale, bring it up. Exhale down. You don't have to keep your back flat, like you're pressing back against a wall, but we do want neutral spine. So consider pushing your tailbone back a little more. It'll feel a little bit like cow pose. From here, hands to the thighs. Inhaling, straightening the legs. Relax the upper body. Uttanasana, hang loose. Shake the head yes, and turn it left and right. From here, coming up about halfway, let's grab our block and we'll bring it up overhead with us. Big inhale. Stepping our right foot back this time, allowing the foot to fall wherever it naturally lands. Exhaling, bending our front knee, pulling the block down. Holding it here just for a moment to check in with the elbows and the wrist, giving the body some time to decide where it might want to go with the pressure. Inhaling, arms overhead. Exhale, pulling the block down, shifting forward, flipping the hips back. Inhaling, big breath. At any time, little extra. Exhale, come down. That little extra breath sometimes can really recruit a lot of musculature under the ribs and the armpits. Who wants strong armpits? Only in yoga. Only in yoga, right? But really it's essential. It is essential. You want strength around the armpits for your shoulders. Forward, push down into that front foot. Let's add in that small rocking motion. Inhaling up. Exhale down, pause here, peel up the heel, push it back. Maybe both knees are bent just a little bit. Keeping that little bend in the knees so that we have a healthy flow of blood, lymphatic fluids, neurological information, nerves traveling up and down the legs. Come down, inhale, bring it up. Both legs straight, option to look up. Exhale, bring it down, looking down. Option to add in a small rock. And it could be anywhere from 1 to maybe 3 at the most. Moving at your own pace. Quality over quantity with this. At any time, I forgot to mention this last time, but at any time, guess what? You can close your eyes. Ooh, different world, kind of dark in there. Inhale, bring it up. Exhale down. Rocking. As soon as you get really comfortable with your eyes open, close the eyes. Change it up just a little bit. Maybe just one more with that rocking motion. Shifting our center of gravity, we're building on a principle of proprioception. It's a big word. It means let's recruit every single neurological and muscular thing it takes to keep us from falling over. Inhale. Exhale, bring it down. This time we're holding, bending both knees, peeling up that back heel, and maybe pressing our right hip forward, swivel or pivot on the ball of your right foot so that you're pressing your right heel back. holding it there. Inhale, bring it up. Push back through the heel. Exhale, coming forward. Lifting, swivel forward, up onto the tippy toe, pressing firmly down. For most of us, we'll probably want to think more about pushing to the inside blade of the foot. And it really is more of a thing for women. Push back through the heel, inhale, come up. Exhale down, up onto the tippy toe, hip forward. Say good morning, left hip. I feel ya. Just one more. Inhale, bring it up. Exhale down. Remember to relax the jaw. Anytime there's dynamic tension recruited in the back or the pelvis or the hips, it can cause tension in the jaw. So just a little move your jaw around every once in a while. Right? From here, slowly come up. Big inhale. Exhale, bring it to the low back. Okay, let's refine it a little bit for our pyramid position. We're bending both knees, heeling up that right heel, swivel the heel back so that we're able to see that both of our feet are tracking forward. When we turn that right heel back, it's going to angle the right hip and pelvis in. We're squaring the hips. Why? Safer for this stretch. Less of a pinch in your sciatic nerve. Keeping the knees bent, inhale, big breath. And then exhale, flip the hips back. And imagine you're trying to stretch your ribs out over your knee. Coming down about halfway. From here, we may already start to feel things moving around in the low back and hips. We could experiment with straightening the right leg, noticing that it shifts the center of gravity forward. Maybe bend that right knee, straighten the left leg. Maybe bend both knees, maybe straighten both legs. Exhale from the throat. And you might get some little popping noises and things. As long as it's not followed by bright lights, nausea, or vomiting, you're good. Right. Big inhale. Exhale. Let's bend our front knee, taking our block down onto the floor, maybe in front of that left foot. Relax the head and the neck, much like our very relaxed Uttanasana. The upper back is relaxed. We're angling our chest and our navel towards our left thigh. Any combination of bent and straight leg is going to be completely acceptable here, as long as we're moving towards comfort when we're moving into this stretch. Big exhale from the throat. Inhaling in place, little lift. Bigger exhale from the throat. Inhale, coming up about halfway, softening through the knees. When you're ready, slowly reverse swan dive, bring it up. Little balance challenge. Step forward, taking the block into our hands as we extend up overhead. Press into the block with the palms of the hands, shifting forward and back. Imagine you have another yoga block between the knees. Press into the inner blade of the feet a little more than the outer blade. Maybe press into the ball or the inner top part of your toe and ball of the foot. And then think about pressing into the sides of your heels, the outsides of the heels. So you have like this diagonal line in the feet from the big toe to the outer part of your heels to balance out the block. Block to the earth. Inhale, lift. You're pushing into the inner blades of the feet, but also think about pressing down the outer edges of the heels. Balance it. Relax your jaw. Your name starts with a G and ends with N. Relax your jaw. Big inhale. Surprise breath. Exhale, relax. And let it all go. Shake it off. Ooh, okay, it's time to come down to the floor. All right. Inhaling, arms overhead. But
It's usually you and Terry.
Yeah.
It is. And sometimes Genevieve. We're not gonna discourage. Everyone does it, except for Jane. She seriously, she moves through the whole class with like this Grace Kelly, like grace on her face. She's just like, this is no work for me at all. All right. All right, let's take the leg out in front of the body. Remembering that we can always elevate the hips, encouraging a little more of a neutral low back when we do this. And just a little reminder, when we do elevate the hips, maybe try going to the very edge of that perch until you feel that your tailbone flips back behind you. So you get a little more of a sway in the low back, actually. Let's take our block between the knees and the thighs. Again, from here, we see that the block is setting the alignment for the knees. See that your ankles are at the same width as the knee joints. Let's pull our toes up, push through the heels, and then press through the balls of your feet. So it's going to create a really active energy in the soles of the feet. And this energy in yoga, we call it pada bandha, foot lump. From here, let's slide our hands back. It could be the fingertips light on the floor. It could be a flat hand. You're welcome to experiment with making a fist and putting the flat part of your knuckles on the floor, thumbs forward. From here, we want to bend the knees and slide the heels in. That's the workout right there. Sitting nice and tall, keep squeezing, lift the right foot, and now lower it down. Lift the left foot, lower down. Let's march in place a few times with our feet and begin to look at the feet to see if the toes are trying to go out to the side. We don't want that. We don't want to lead with our toes. Instead, lead with your heel. So the toes, we're not really turning the toes in, we're turning our knee joint in. And as we turn the knee joint in, we're turning the entire large femur bone, the largest bone in the body. We're turning that leg bone in. And you might start to feel it like building. There might be an energy, a contraction in your outer hip that starts to build. Keep kicking it out with your heel. Press, press. Let's do one more each side. Right leg, left leg. Act surprised. Check in with the posture. Kick it out with the right and hold it there. Add in a little pulse, pulse, pulse. It's the tiniest movement. Tiny, tiny, tiny. And it is so very powerful at the same time. I know your face said it all. She's not clenching her jaw, but she's also like, when you're ready, relax. Inhale, center, check in with the posture. Press with the other foot, left heel out. Tiny, tiny press, but keep pushing into that yoga block with the knees. It's a micro movement, right? It just looks like you're quivering, but and that might be happening too. But you're just pressing, just tiny, tiny, tiny bit. And hopefully you feel it.
I'm trying.
You're doing so good. And now relax. All right, from here, let's take the block off to the side. You're welcome. So I did this yesterday with City of McKinney. And they were like, why? Why does it feel that way? And I was like, it's a tweak. It's just the way it is. For most of us, it is. Let's draw the left knee in. I mean, I feel it too. I feel it too. Let's walk our right foot more towards the middle of our yoga mat. At this point, we can decide either to stay here. This is considered the safest position. Less risk of injury to your low back and hip. The other option to experiment with is to cross the leg over. So we pull the knee and the thigh over, it's gonna pull on your low back more. If we start to notice, as we progress this pose now, if we start to notice any pain or pulling in your low back, or if you notice any pain in your right shoulder, then you're gonna return to this position, okay? So let's start by taking the right arm up. Big inhale, 100 helium balloons. Imagine that your right hip is pinned to the floor, pulling down. Big inhale. And now exhale, turn at the belly button, swivel at the waist. You could always take your hand onto your intestine and pull your intestines out of the way. I seriously took a training on moving organs. It was fun. But sometimes things do move. You have to kind of like adjust yourself a little bit, right? All right. Keep the right foot active. Keep pushing. Take the arm across and notice where the arm lands. So today it might be that we stay here. We might hug onto the knee. We might take the arm onto the thigh. Sit nice and tall. Roll that left shoulder back a little more. If you get any snap, crackle, pops, that's really common to hear things pop here. Let's look over the left shoulder. Very traditional. We can bend the right elbow, moving into a half Lord of the Fishes position. Is anyone thinking, what's the full Lord of the Fishes? And is fishes really a word? Yes, it is. Joy to the fishes in the deep blue sea.
Deep blue sea.
That's right. Fishes is really a word. Looking over the left shoulder, we're stretching all along the back of your right ear, down under the right shoulder blade, and then it jumps across your back to your left hip. If you're noticing any pain at all, you would come to center and uncross the legs. Let's breathe mostly into your upper left lung. The right lung is squeezed right now, really squeezed. So it's that left upper lung that's the most open. Big breath in. Bring the head to center. And now slowly push off that back hand. Coming to center, relax the hands down. Option to open the knee out to the side a little bit. And let's flex our left foot. As we're isolating this stretch in the back and the hip, we want to make sure the knee doesn't twist. When there's lack of mobility in the hip, we see a higher probability of knee strain. Flex the foot, sit nice and tall. Oh yeah, that's right. Gail, we remembered one of the most amazing modifications. If you feel a strain, put the block under your knee, under your thigh. Yeah, if you're feeling any strain, this is a very good one. Sitting nice and tall. Hold on to your foot with your right hand to the arch of the foot. Put the left hand under the left thigh. Sit tall, and now start to lean forward. You might feel it in the left hip, might feel it in the right hip, might feel it in both hips. You could feel it in your neck and shoulders as well. Continue to relax the jaw. Staying here for about 5 to 10 breaths. There's plenty of time to focus on a longer exhale, releasing that breath with the sigh, encouraging any tension or any energy that keeps your hips locked up to let go with the breath. Keep the head with the chin to the chest and slowly begin to sit up, last of all lifting through the neck and the head. All right, let's do the other side. Extending our left leg out, bending our right knee, walking our left foot to the middle of our mat. Pausing for a moment just to check in with the body, noticing if there's any pulling under the left shoulder, any pulling on the hip, and then experimenting. Option to cross it over. Remembering just because we did it one way on one side, you don't have to do it the same way on the other side. Sitting nice and tall, we're extending our left arm up. Hold on to the right leg outside the thigh. Big inhale. And now exhale, turn at the belly button. Extending the left arm across the body, maybe around the knee joint, or maybe the elbow on the outside of the thigh. Pressing the elbow to the thigh and thigh or knee into the elbow. Drawing the right shoulder back, hand comes down towards the floor. Twisting a little more at the rib cage. It can feel so different from left to right. So now we're adding in, it's a pretty big squeeze on the liver. So if you need to move your liver out of the way, shift your liver. Looking over the right shoulder. We are compressed a little more in our left lung. If we close our eyes, we might be able to feel as the breath comes into the body, it's going to move over to the right side of our chest. Keeping the jaw relaxed, gaze relaxed, noticing how much effort we're really putting into maintaining the twist, and maybe back off the effort by 15%. Keep pressing through that extended left leg, flattening the foot, pushing through the ball of the foot, soft through the jaw, soft through the eyes, soft through the ears. Inhale, lengthen through the crown of the head a little more. When you're ready, exhale, come around to center. Slowly uncross the arm and slowly unwind the spine. Lifting our right toes, opening the hip, keeping the foot flat. Left hand on the sole of the right foot, right hand under the right thigh. Sitting nice and tall. Exhale, shifting forward. It's kind of like a pigeon pose, similar to pigeon. Another name for this pose is a figure 4 stretch. This can be really helpful for alleviating tension that can build up in your low back, but we always want to move really slow with it. Practice those long exhales. Maybe even blowing bubbles. Keeping our chin towards the chest, feeling like there's length in the back of our neck. We're letting the head hang loose. Slowly coming up, stacking the vertebra in the back. Last of all, lifting through the neck and the head. Let's take our time to uncross the right leg and shake off the knees. All right, let's get ready to lie down. Shifting forward, making sure that our mat is unrolled and there are no obstructions on the back of the mat. We can roll over to one side and lie down, and then roll over onto our backs. Let's start with our knees bent and the feet flat on the floor in constructive resting pose. Maybe feel that your tailbone is slightly pressing down and back. And as you rock your hips back and rock the tailbone and sacrum back into the earth, notice that you'll feel a pulling on your shoulders and your belly button
is going to pop up a little bit off the floor. As we press our hips down and back into the earth, you'll notice also that your chest rises, and this will bring the chin closer to the chest, moving into what we call a throat lock, Jalandhara Bandha. From here, relax your low back, peel up the tailbone, flatten your low back and belly. Inhale, rock the hips back again, lifting the belly. Inhale. Exhale, pull the tailbone off the floor. So we're just easing into some pelvic tilts, encouraging a little bit of movement and rhythm with the breath as we create a foundation for a bridge flow. At some point, rock the tailbone back and down, lift the ribs, push into your feet, and now press straight up with your hips. Inhaling, coming into bridge. I think of all the yoga poses, this one to me is the most amusing because the Sanskrit phrase for this pose is Setu Bandha Sharvangasana. And we go, what does that mean? Bridge. Setu Bandha Sharvangasana. Bridge. From here, imagine the yoga block between the knees and thighs, squeezing in. And again, push down into the ball of the foot. And then imagine you're pressing into the outside parts of your heels. One more big inhale. Exhale, let's slowly lower down the hips and pelvis. Press the knees and thighs into touching. Inhale, reach the arms overhead, extending the arms behind us. Imagine you're climbing a rope here. So you're reaching a little more with the left hand and then a little more with the right hand, really moving any energy or tightness out of the side waist, out of the ribs. Let's come to a centered point with the body, lowering our hands down beside the hips, palms facing down. Separating our knees out to the width of the pelvis bones, feet are at the same width. Pressing our tailbone down, lifting the belly button, loading the weight down into our feet. Imagine a block between the knees. Inhale, push straight down into the feet, lifting through the pelvis. So we're lifting, hopefully with the low back in neutral. Less low back compression. Exhale, slowly lower down. Touch the knees and thighs together, press in. Inhaling, arms reach. And climb the rope just a little bit. Come to center, pressing the palms down. Knees open to pelvis or hips width. Tailbone pressing down, feeling a lift in the belly button. Sacrum or that buttocks bone is flat. Push straight down into the feet, lifting the pelvis from neutral. Imagine the yoga block between the knees and thighs. Press into the ball of the foot, press into the outer edges of the heels. And now lower down. Arms overhead. Last time. Wrapping up that flow, little climb the rope. When you're ready, lower the hands down beside the body. Let's let both knees twist towards the left, coming into a very still supine twist. Easy does it. You're welcome to straighten the top leg a little more. Arms can come out like a T with the palms facing up. As our knees twist over to the left, let's look over our right shoulder. So we have this lovely movement or this flow of energy in the body that is spiraling from the tailbone, up the spine, through the crown of the head. twisting poses can be very powerful all on their own. Notice if there's any part of the body that's harboring tension while we're here. Softening the shoulders. Is there any tension in your wrists? Maybe check in with your ankles and feet even. Breathe any tension out from your hips. Relax the muscles in the face. When you're ready, take your time swaying the knees to center. Bringing our gaze to center so we have the hips, the neck, and the head all at neutral. On the next exhale, twisting both knees over to the right. Option to straighten the top leg if it feels more comfortable to open the hip. Looking over our left shoulder. Becoming aware of any places that are holding tension. Just doing a little body scan from the tips of the toes to the ankles. Releasing any tension there, any tension behind the knees, around the hips, around the shoulders, elbows and wrists, tension in the jaw. Ready, slowly bringing our gaze to neutral, neck is neutral, and then bringing both knees to that neutral position as well. We can draw our knees in towards the chest. Hold on behind the knees or thighs. Roll out the ankles. Maybe extend the legs towards the sky. A few presses with the heels. Point and flex the feet. Let your body move in any way at this point, in any way that we feel is helpful for us to eventually find a still place as we're moving into our final moments together. This is the last 5 minutes in our practice. We could always do traditional Shavasana, relaxation pose, or you can keep your knees bent. Hands might go onto the belly so that we're able to feel for the breath low in the abdomen. This is where it all began today, breathing down to the lowest parts of the lungs. In sound yoga, also known as nada yoga,
There are specific sounds that can be used to create more harmony in different energies in the body. And as we're focusing on the throat today, the shuddha, one of the primary sounds is hum. You're welcome to join in with me in taking in a deep breath and just humming. Hum. You can do it together. Let's take in a deep breath and exhale one big hum. Hum. color therapy, this energy is represented by bright turquoise blue. So maybe bringing to mind the blue of a robin's egg, maybe the most beautiful chunk of turquoise stone you've ever seen, or even turquoise waters. Put a little less effort into the breath. Continue to breathe easy, but with less effort. And now maybe recruiting just a little more effort. Just enough to know that we are encouraging the breath to move into the belly, fully filling the lungs all the way up into the chest. And then relax the chest, the ribs, and the belly. Just a fraction of physical effort and mental effort going into this practice of pranayama. Inviting our fingers and toes to move a little bit so that we further bring awareness to the physical form, maybe even in our minds, recollecting the space around us, the wood floors, the color of your yoga mat, the white ceiling tiles. With the mind and body a little more alert. In your own time, as this includes the physical practice, take your time to eventually roll over onto one side and ease your way up into seated. We can practice that hum one more time if you like. You can cup your hands over your ears so it'll create that effect like holding a seashell up to your ear, kind of a hollow effect. Let's try it. Big inhale. Just might notice that feeling of stillness after the hum. That's known in yoga as pranava. It's that place where everything is in perfect order, peace, and harmony. And that's when there's infinite possibilities. From here, we can bring our palms together for closing. Drawing in a deep breath together. And then bowing. Namaste. So enjoy our beautiful sunny spring day.